Do you volunteer for that, or do they ask, or how does it happen?
First of all, no BBC correspondent is forced to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's a war zone, you're asked, and if you want to go, you go. If you don't, you don't. And it's not going to be a blemish on your record. You're not going to be, done out of a job in the future. It's absolutely your decision. So interestingly, I get a phone call from the deputy editor of the 10 o'clock news, a guy called Johnny Whittaker. And he says, do you fancy going to Ukraine? And I'd just come off the back of doing a pretty big series on COVID in January this year. And I said, I'm a bit knackered, mate. Oh, God. And he says, well, he's got 150,000 troops on the border. Do you fancy going? I said, oh, I'll think about it. Put down the phone, went and made a cup of tea. And then I thought, I've never been to Ukraine. I've never been. Why not? Why not? And he ain't going to invade.
Right.
He ain't going to invade.
God.
So I ring him back and I say, yeah, I'll go, because he ain't going to invade. And Johnny says, no, he ain't going to invade. We land, I'm with brilliant producer Annie Duncanson. We go to lovely restaurant, have lunch, sun is shining, everybody is out. He ain't going to invade. I then present the 6 o'clock news, then present the 10 o'clock news, and in between those two bulletins, the atmosphere had changed. Completely changed. And I interviewed Lise Doucette on the roof of our hotel where we were broadcasting live.
She was already there.
Lise was already there, yeah. Right. Lise was already there. And we agreed that something is up.
Because you feel that from your contacts, or you feel that from so you're feeling, you're getting the word?
Absolutely, because the President's office had gone quiet.
Right.
President Zelensky had been pretty forthright in saying they're not going to invade. They're not going to invade. Yeah. The Americans had put out the intelligence that they had suggesting that he was going to invade, but the suggestion was that they were doing that in order to sort of, make it difficult for them to actually do it. Right. Put the intel out there first. But Zelensky went quiet, and there was a sense that something was up. And Lise, in her live, made that clear. That was midnight local time, 10 o'clock here, and I think they invaded about 2:30.
What's put in place to keep you safe, or are you just keeping yourself safe?
You have a whole team of security that are there.
Yeah.
And they are your eyes and ears out there while you're actually able to work. So that's really important. They're all ex-military, and they know the lie of the land. And you've got local fixers and producers who also know what's going on the ground as well. So that's really important. But the bottom line is, we all had meetings with the person in charge, IC, Kate Peters, individual meetings, and we were asked, do you want to stay? And a number of people said, no, I didn't sign up for this. One person was in tears. I need to get out.
Yeah.
So a convoy of vehicles left. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So a convoy of vehicles left about 2 days after the invasion. And I was asked by Kate if I wanted to stay. And I'd already made up my mind. I said I wanted to stay. I wanted to try to tell the truth of this story. There's a lot of lies and propaganda and, frankly, crap that's put out about what might be going on. And I wanted to try to tell the truth of what was going on. And I said to her, what do you think the Russians will do if they come into the hotel? And she's a fluent Russian speaker. She's the bureau chief in Moscow. She knows the Russian mindset. And she said, well, they'll be brusque. They won't stand on ceremony. They'll probably just want to kick us out. And I said, well, do you think they might want to kill us? And she said she didn't know. She wasn't sure. But she didn't think they would. And I said, okay, that's good enough for me. So I stayed, and a number of others stayed as well. Yeah. Fantastic camera operators, fixers, producers. I mean, our whole team got that show on the road for those first 2 weeks of that invasion. And they were all magnificent. Absolutely magnificent.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I did a degree in journalism and history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so hearing you talk about this, I'm like, wow, it's so interesting. Yeah. One of my favourite quotes when I did my degree was, journalism is the first draft of history. And that's what got me so interested in it. It's like everything you're doing, all those reports, all those moments, that is history forever. People will look back at that and watch you. And
yeah, no, we're so privileged to sort of, you know, be in the position where we're seeing these huge moments. I mean, you know, I did a lot on the COVID pandemic. You know, that's a once in a 100-year event. You know, the war in Ukraine, a once in a, 70-odd-year event, you know, a huge major war on European soil. Yeah, we're in an incredibly privileged position.
So, like, you always see these movies where it's like the end of the world and you see the journalist going, I'm staying, guys, I'm staying. And you're just like, just
I'm
go.
not going. You're a fool. Get out.
You're that guy. You're that guy.
Yeah.